Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff is here and Tam Cowan is with me. Quite a lot of people, Ruffy, get worried if Tam doesn't turn up on a certain day. You know, you get used to somebody. It just makes a comfort blanket if he's here. But he's back with us now after, a little bit of ducking and diving.
Yes, I said yesterday, he's got so many plates to spin, and things to do, as he's called upon. So, yeah, I think we're very lucky.
Yep. We're delighted.
Good, always good to be back in a match day as well. This takes me back. This time 2 years ago, there was many a time you, right after the programme, dropped me off in Glasgow City Centre. I'd meet up with a couple of pals, watch a double header. Sadly, it is still just a double header, Celtic and Rangers night, but great. Can it be a double header night with the FIP was brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're
looking forward to it. Europa League, as Tam has mentioned there, Rangers against Lyon and Real Betis against Celtic is the earlier kick-off. Our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi sets the scene.
Autumn is here, which can only mean one thing. The Europa League group stage returns this evening with both Rangers and Celtic in action. Let's start though in sunny Seville, where Celtic travel to the Estadio Benito Villamarin to play Real Betis. Now it's the first time they've been in Andalusia since the 2003 UEFA Cup final, which ended in heartbreak. Manager Ange Postecoglou wants his team to make their own memories this time round. Though we know captain Callum McGregor, Greg Taylor or Leo Labada, so expect several changes for Celtic. And the Real Betis side they finished 6th in La Liga last season, but they're a little bit slower to start life this time round. They only won their first game of the campaign on Monday night, winning 2-1. Postecoglou wants his side to impose themselves this evening and thinks it'll be a great measure of where they are.
Yeah, they had a fantastic year last year. They got an outstanding manager, and again, it's a kind of opposition we want to test ourselves against, and especially away from home. The Crowley side, they've got some real threats up front who can cause any team problems. So I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a good test for us, and I think it'll be a good game. And
how about here in Govan? Later this evening, these streets will be lined with 50,000 fans roaring their team on for manager Steven Gerrard's 50th European game in charge. He's won just over half so far. And he said that it could be their biggest test to date under his tenure. Lyon, of course, boasts the likes of Xherdan Shaqiri, Jerome Boateng, Houssem Aouar. There will be no Moussa Dembele. He misses out with an injury. Philippe Lander himself is also injured, but you've got Connor Goldson coming back, which is a huge boost to the Gers' defence. Both Rangers and Celtic are confident they can be playing European football after Christmas, and 2 positive results tonight is the first step on the road to the last 32.
Yeah, Gab's there just at Ibrox, not banned from the pavement, Ruffy, so he was able to walk. He was able to walk.
I just went in a big hoop coming out. Hey.
Or as you said there, somebody just going, sure Josie, sure. I mean, the trousers are ridiculous.
He's absolutely, that's the fashion.
Would he know who Francie and Josie were?
No,
chance.
Too young.
Trousers are tremendous.
But that is
Ruffy's are actually longer. They want Ruffy's going today.
I know, but listen, Gabs is top drawer. Anyway, apart from anything else, I think it's going to be a tough one, Ruffy. We've talked about the quality that Real Betis have at their disposal. There's a lot of players who've got a lot of European experience, and then I'm suddenly looking at Celtic here, and I'm McGregor, Abada, Taylor, Kyogo, Forrest all out. Anthony Ralston's back in, but you're starting to say to yourself, he's going to have to juggle it about and hope they can come up with the same type of play that he wants.
Well, even at full strength, you wouldn't expect him to go there and win that game. So you'd be looking for a draw, at most, but now with the way they are, the people that miss that, I think it'll be a mighty show for them to take anything out of that game now. But they've got it in them. They've proved they can go away from home. I just don't think they'll do it. I think a draw would be the best result tonight for Celtic.
Trying to actually second guess the team that he's going to pick is so difficult. I think Gabriel had a little stab at the possible 11, and when you have a look at it, Hart and goal, Ralston makes sense, Carter Vickers, Starfelt, Juranovic, that's fine. Rogic, Soro, Turnbull, he's got Montgomery up there on the left hand side of it. I don't see that happening, to be honest with you. Jota and Ajeti, if anything, I think he'd probably stick. I think you'd probably put Rogic out in that left-hand side, Ruffy, and maybe maybe McCarthy in there and try and just make it a solid 5.
Yeah, I thought McCarthy would be the prize choice there. The boy Montgomery's looked good since he's
does
come
look
on.
good, but
young boy going forward for the full back position. But I don't think that's going to be it tonight. I think it's going to be backs to the wall. You're going to be looking at a back 4 who you really need to be a back 4. They've not proved that away from home against good teams in Europe. So tonight might be the night where the 4 of them gel and Joe Hart has a magnificent game and everything goes well for them.
Yeah, sometimes, Tam, you know what it's like. You look at European teams, you see where they're performing in their league and you think, okay, you just don't know the true strength of them. But, there's very few teams that Celtic or Rangers will play in Spain that they're going to get any change out of away from home.
Exactly. I mean, there's no mugs in that Spanish league, obviously, and I agree with Ruffy. I think Celtic would bite your hand off tonight for a draw.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great result. I'm going to be edging towards probably my European predictions as of old. But, 0-0 isn't such a bad bet tonight because I think even historically, the early games, certainly the first game in any of these group stages in Europe, they can be a bit cagey, a wee bit tight, a wee bit like a kind of early rounds of a boxing match or whatever. So Celtic keep it tight. I'd incidentally like to see when you're talking about defence, salute Anthony Ralston because he did mixed reviews in the past, and then you're using it as a positive. You mentioned there all the players that are out for Celtic. He says, but Anthony Ralston is back in, so good on him. You know what I mean? He's had not a bad start to the season there and scoring goals as well. But yeah, I just hope it's a good one to watch. Looking on it, I was nearly going to use the term a neutral there. I'm not quite a neutral because I always would support the Scottish teams, but an early goal, even though that would blow my bet out the window if I did bet 0-0. An early goal in these games, and I think they can be tasty.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be honest with you, Tam, and here's some good news for you because I know you're going to be regularly on the Thursday now.
Thursday, yeah.
Right, which is great. So this is Thursday, so we could probably, Ruffy and I could probably pick, you okay? Ruffy and I could probably pick a restaurant early for next week. If it's 0-0,
right,
I'll take you and Ruffy out for a meal and I'll let you take a photograph of every course that we get.
Superb.
Is that okay?
Right, so if you believe there's goals in us then, the way I'll bet is Celtic, it's not going to finish 0-0.
It's not going to finish 0-0.
Okay, excellent.
So now, have you got a restaurant in mind now?
Yes, maybe.
Don't be giving me any of your Andrew Fairley nonsense.
no, that'd be all right. Somewhere with a tasting menu.
Yes,
at least the 11-course tasting menu. Yeah. But the one up at Ravenscraig, that's quite good.
Yes. So, you happy with that, Ruffy? It's not going to be.
Is that the bet? Right. Well, you know what? I'll will in the spirit this is intended. I will on an early goal to make it a better game. Yep. That gets you off the hook, but if it is a blank, then I'm still winning. I get fed next Thursday.
You get fed. We'll take you out. Is that fair, Ruffy?
Oh,
can we bring one lucky viewer?
Hey, I can wait and take a flight.
Tried my best for you. Sorry.
You know that feeling, Ruffy. We're all chatting, and the guy's just sitting there, or the girl just sitting there, going bored out of her head.
I did that one night. It was a few years ago now when I was out reviewing a restaurant. And I had to take, by way of a competition in the paper or whatever it was, to take these two folk out for a meal. So I met them in what was my wee pal Guy Cowan's old restaurant, Guy's Candle Rings in Glasgow. It was excellent. And it was always a good meeting place, maybe if you were just using the bar. So I met this couple, they came in. So they were middle-aged couple, so just a bit of chat at the start to get to know them and introduce themselves. And I said, and are you married, And they both went, yeah. But not necessarily to each other. And then they says, would you mind not using our real names in the review? And I said, absolutely. I says, right, give me any great historical double act man and woman for history. It could be anybody at all, it's famous, and I'll use that as your first names. So that night, with a wee nod to Messrs Burton and Taylor, this couple were Richard and Elizabeth, and that's who they were in the thing, mate, just to keep it under the radar. Fantastic. It was none of my business, and they were nice people.
That's good. And did you see Ruffy after it again?
No, I saw him a few times after it because I blackmailed them for £10,000. per year. It was great.
I thought you were going to say Cleopatra and Anthony or something like that.
Well, I could have. It was their pick.
But guys was nice, because you'd love the wee place next door for a song and dance.
They had everything in that. The candle rigs, great wee street. They've got everything on it. Pubs, restaurants, a lot.
Listen, you're getting everything on this. Food reviews a lot. What more do you want? What more do you want? I'm sure Celtic fans would want a win. Do you think Celtic can get a win over there? I know that there are actually Celtic fans out there, Ruffy, because I've seen pictures of them. They're all out there having a bevy. And fair play to them. They know they're not getting into the ground. But sometimes, as you know, fans love just getting away somewhere, even if they can't get in, to enjoy it.
Yeah, most of the games, if they've got tickets, they're away in the morning, and after the game, they're right back after it. That's the deal, the general deal. So why not just go over and watch it somewhere on a big screen or something like that, and just get the atmosphere and being away for the day?
Are you sure though, Peter, they went out there, or they simply no made it back since 2003? Because that would be, it looks a cracking place. But I felt sorry for the Celtic fans that, because it was as if they dangled that wee carrot in front of them saying, you're Real Betis, that's it, the tickets will be going on sale, sort your accommodation out, and then boom, it was taken away from them.
You might have felt sorry for the Celtic fans. I felt sorry for all the restaurateurs and the bar owners, because in Spain they've had a really tough time, and I think in Seville, I think the mayor was absolutely gutted that they couldn't welcome, a group of fans over there.
Particularly as they get, what was it in 2003, 1.5 trillion.
Well, that's what
made it over, didn't they? Right. So that's a huge loss.
They were all there. It was like
see, all joking aside, that's one of these big long running gags, right? Yes. About Rangers getting a penalty, the Celtic fans in Seville. How many were actually there?
80,000.
80,000, right. Okay.
Which was, it was absolutely mental.
And how many get into the game? About 30, maybe?
I think it was 35, actually,
Right. See, folk never believe that as well, and it's true. When we won the Cup, our moment of glory, Motherwell did sell, and I'm not saying Motherwell fans, Motherwell supporters, because it was aunties, uncles, grannies, expats who flew in. But Motherwell, it seems incredible, shifted 33,000 tickets for that Cup final in 1991.
Yeah, I know
incredible.
That.
And the fans will come out.
But do you know the funny thing is, I don't like people saying it afterwards, Tam, but some people turn around and they go, where were you the whole season? We want you there. I think that's grossly unfair, because people actually, Ruffy, sometimes who don't have the money will say, well, I'm a Motherwell fan, I want to be there. Or in the case of some people who decided to go to Seville, I want to be there, let's make it a holiday. Let's pay for it now and then keep paying for it 6 months later. So it's
I think the important thing is the people who get the tickets, the first bit of tickets are the people who go all the time.
Aye.
They're the important ones. They're the ones that go all the
tickets.
time. So if there's anything extra, and there would be extra with 30-odd thousand, why no? Because the main objective is to hold on to them.
Aye.
If you get excess going, you maybe get 2,000 or 3,000 who say, I quite enjoyed that, so you're getting a spin-off.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll still get another 2 days of our competition. I'll let you see our promo for it a little later on, but you could win yourself a Cristiano Ronaldo shirt with a number 7 on the back. I was down there at Old Trafford. We've got the programme as well. And Ruffy brought over from his holly bags a pair of CR7 pants as well. So we've thrown them in too, which is absolutely magnificent. Well done, Ruffy. Rangers against Lyon tonight. If Celtic have got it tough, Rangers have got a real test on their hands. Hadji and Hallander missing for Rangers. Golson back in defence.
I think that's a big one. I think he's been a rock back there. That'll be an asset to their defence. But again, at home, I think you've got to expect to win the game. I know they're a quality side and they've got quality players, but the way Rangers have been playing in Europe, last year that is, they've taken on most of the big teams that come along. I don't think they've hit the heady heights this year as they had last year, so it'll be a big ask for them, to go out and win the game. But I think they're capable enough to go and do it.
And you know what, Peter, as well, if you said there Hadji and Hallander out, if you'd have given that as part of the deal to Rangers fans, maybe even Stephen Gerrard says, but Lyon won't even travel with Dembele and Shaqiri.
Well, Shaqiri's actually made the squad.
Oh, he made the squad now?
Yeah, which is actually, they're at it because obviously, you know what it's like. Sometimes they say, they're not travelling, he's picked up an injury. Suddenly he's there and he's available.
Right. Well, again, but Dembele, definitely
not
not in the picture. I mean, smashing player. I mean, he would have given the evening. He was saying himself, bring on the booze and all that.
Yeah.
He likes all that. And again, that is one of the other things that we have to remember, Peter. Another facet of the fans now being back into the games that we missed. You know, the good guys and the bad guys, because the Motherwell Aberdeen game at the weekend, I'm sure you saw many of the brilliant press photographs that were taken it, but the wee, I hope, kiddie-onny spat between Tony Watt and Scott Brown, if you saw any of that, and Tony Watt slapping them in the head and all that, they had a right wee ding-dong. They're obviously former teammates, I'm guessing they're pals. I hope they kissed and made up after it. But fans love that stuff. That's sort of the wee thing, you know, when you're sitting there again and you can get a wee... And the Rangers fans would have, of course, they'd have given Dumbelly a warm reception, but that would all have added to the game tonight. But great, looking forward to get the feet up watching that one as well.
As far as Steven Gerrard is concerned, this is what he had to say about his team ahead of the game. He was speaking to a number of Rangers fanzine people who asked him about the match against Lyon. This is what he had to say. Well, that's his record in Europe, which is basically 25 wins, 16 draws, 8 defeats, 51% is his overall record in Europe, which again is good going. And as far as the game itself, he says, if the squad stays fit, we have a fighting chance of reaching the last 16, which I think, to be perfectly honest with you, Ruffy, on the evidence of what Steven Gerrard has achieved over the last couple of seasons, they made the last 16, you know, so I certainly wouldn't be writing them off because of what they've done before. They've now got, I think, to his great credit, Steven Gerrard's got them playing that European style of football. They know how to get that type of result.
Particularly away from home, you know, he's got the players he can throw in there. The Kamaras, you know, had played obviously in the Euro finals, and he's got the Hadjis, you know, that European style of player, and it has worked. I think this is a more difficult section to get out of than they had last year, but their home games, as Tam said, with 50-odd thousand behind them, you know, can really make a scene and a noise in the stadium at night, and I expect them to win most of their home games. It's away from home that they need to pick up a couple of points here and there.
Yeah, here's the predicted 11 that Steven Gerrard might be choosing on this night, hoping to get a result. McGregor in goal. That back four, as ever, you know, a tweak here and there, but still looks solid. Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun and Barisic. At the midfield three, you know, solid for me. Kamara, Davis, I like. Aribo on his game can change it with a wee bit of magic. Roof, Morelos and Kent. Kent for me has been a disappointment this season. Ruffy, I still want him to go and light up the European stage, which I think he's more than capable of, the boy.
Yeah, it's consistency, and I think the Rangers supporters will appreciate that. You know, there's no doubt about it. He's the guy that gets bums off seats. You know, he does it on the occasion. I'm sure they would like him to do it a lot more as well. And tonight is the night when he should be sort of grabbing the game with the scruff of the neck and showing everybody the ability that he's got. And there's no reason why he shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tommy Adams says, by the way, regarding the CR7 pants, were they too small for Ruffy? Are they only a 4XL? I mean, that's harsh, Ruffy, isn't it?
No,
I mean, you do something, a good term for the competition.
You know what like it is when you go and buy these things, you have to gauge, you know, who it is that's wearing them and then see what size you think he is and then taking your size accordingly. But
and it can be very important because we keep going back to restaurants, but did you see that Jamie Oliver, he recently bought his entire staff underwear, right? Now, he'd been cutting himself about in the kitchen and he was wearing some new style of, I don't know if they were the briefs or the boxer shorts or whatever, but he thought, oh, these are great, these are very, very comfortable. And he said it's a hard job floating about in a hot kitchen. You get a wee heat rash or something, a wee sweat rash or anything like that. So he basically, for his entire workforce at all his restaurants up and down the country, he bought them all underwear. That's something you could try here. I mean, we've all got a nice wee maestro in PLZ.
You've got your top. I mean, I've got to move into that, Ruffy. Yeah. I was wondering where he was going with that there, but we've got Jamie Oliver. I never thought we'd have Jamie Oliver in the show. Yeah, but would you be happy with that if we got maybe... I tell you, he doesn't need any, because you've got about 40 pairs in your back seat of your motor. I don't know where they came from, but are they all yours, right?
They're all briefs.
To be fair, on a serious note, Ruffy, I probably could get everybody a pair of PLZ shorts if it's good, because it is quite warm in the studio here. But I'll probably hang on just to wait to see if you could deliver the PLZ team strips that we've been asking you for.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, I I inquired.
Oh, you know your mates. But not one Partick Thistle talk. We want the latest one for your mate who owns the sports shop.
Well, I thought you'd already got them off somebody. That's why I never pursued them. Somebody gave you them, did they not?
No, we just want you to
Well,
deliver.
I'll keep going on that one. I'd forgot about that. I thought you said
We need a team set of strips, Tom, so we can play against...
Any particular colour? No, just neutral?
No, black. Just basically because it's thinning. And it gives us a chance to play against the BBC team, which has 2 people from the BBC and 19 under 19 players. Anyway, how do you see it going? I don't know about you, but I'm going to go. I think. What did I say yesterday? Did I go for a draw?
I think you went for a draw, but I think when you're at home, you've got to win. If you want to come out the group, you've got to at least win 2 or 3 of your home games, and this is a big one. This would be a massive scalp to win tonight, so I'm going to stick my neck out and go 2-1 Rangers.
2-1. You think Rangers will beat them 2-1? I'll go 1-1, Tam.
As long as it's a real shift we get for the Rangers players, as long as they're absolutely exhausted at the end of it, because we play them on Sunday. And you know, Motherwell, you know, I'm sure you've discussed as many times in the programmes this week, but you know, we're looking good. We're up there 4th in the league, and if we could manage to sneak something at Sunday, bit of a choker again. I always like to see things from the perspective of fans. No Motherwell fans, of course, will be at Ibrox. It's another COVID restriction. They've got a red zone area. I'm miffed for the like every set of supporters, and I couldn't include me in that because of work commitments. There are fans that simply do not miss a game.
Yes.
Everybody knows somebody at your club, but they've no missed a game for 30, 40, 50 years. So I'm disappointed for them. But Motherwell knew exactly what the script was. Motherwell only going to kick up a fuss because they've played the whole COVID era sensibly. And what's great though, the SPFL gave Motherwell permission to show the game in the bars at Fir Park. So I'll basically finish the radio on Saturday, head out, meet up with some of my pals, have a wee drink, watch it at Fir Park and hope for the best.
Yeah. As far as Rangers, I mean, that team that I read out there, Ralphie, I think that's still a strong side. You know, the good thing about Steven Gerrard is when he was putting the team together, he made sure he'd cover in each area. So the midfield looks strong for me, you know, and he's got players that can score goals as well. Yeah,
the 3 up front are all goal scorers, and that's proven. You know, I think Aribo, as I said, you know, is a European player. Kamara's not even in the team, so they've got quality to come on if they need it. But it's the back 4. If the back 4 can get back to where they were last year when it was a fortress, you know, it was 0-0-0-0, and it was, everybody was struggling to score against them. Alan McGregor back as well, so you know that's what they have to be. They have to be really tight.
That's a huge boost, and you know, he's been absolutely brilliant, and it's clearly the era for the golden old goalies. I'm sure you've already paid tribute to Craig Gordon on Sunday, absolutely magnificent. And Robin Nielsen thinking, look, he can play into his 40s. It's obviously the same with McGregor. He was brilliant last year, and you know, they've got good goalies in the backup, but you get him right in, and I would imagine Ruffy will know exactly what we're talking about here. But for the defenders, if they know they've got a guy like that at the back, it must raise their confidence as well. You know?
And of course, as ever, always.
Can I ask where I can't say my knowledge of French football is up to much. Where exactly are Lyon and how are they domestically?
I think they're in the top 5. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, they're a good side, Tam.
They're not a Motherwell.
They're not a. They're not. I was just
well, incidentally, if it all just did go nicely for Graham Alexander and Motherwell this year, is it the winners of the title this year go straight into the Champions League group section?
Yep.
Yeah. Lyon are worse than that, by the way. Motherwell are better than them. They're 7th.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I'm just checking there just to see 7th.
Right.
But they're, you know.
That's fantastic.
So Motherwell, far better side.
If we get into the Champions League groups, because, you know, UEFA still owes one, remember, and we get into the qualifier.
Yeah.
Right, under Stuart McCall, played Panathinaikos. There was rotters out there who the minute he said, oh, we've played in the Champions League, pinch me. We couldn't believe it, right?
Yeah.
Fir Park, the home leg, it was, goosebumps just thinking about it. Great trip out to Athens and all the rest of it. It was joyous, right? But they didn't let us play the Zadok the Priest
Yeah, you
Champions
wanted
League
that
game
theme.
because it was a qualifier.
That's right,
They've
yeah.
apparently got very, very strict rules at that.
got
you
the
know?
programme?
And yeah. How's it worth something?
No, it's good. No, but it's worth something to Motherwell fans.
for insurance purposes.
It's worth it to people who, it's only worth it to people who value these
I'll
things.
tell you what I found, and if any Motherwell fans out there, and I could bump into them at the stadium sometime this season, what I found when I was having a wee clear out the other night, and this has got a wee certain collector's value, it was the programmes for Motherwell Aberdeen game that was scheduled for the Friday night in March 2020.
Oh.
And that was the first game, certainly the first Motherwell game, that was cancelled because of COVID. So it was the game that never was. But the programmes had all been published, and they very kindly at the club gave me a wee bundle of them. So if there are any quirky collectors out there who would fancy a Motherwell Aberdeen programme for the game that never was,
Yes.
then give me a shout at Fir Park.
Now that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah,
That is a
stuff
good one.
like that's good. Aye.
Another thing that's good is when you're playing well, Ruff, you always get players that attract attention. A wee story caught my eye today. West Ham looking at Connor Goldson. Davy Moyes obviously keeping tabs on the type of players that he thinks can take that step up.
Well, in the last 2 years, he's been up there, Player of the Year nomination, and he's been really solid. I think he's been better than the other ones, more consistent. So yeah, and he's had a wee taste of playing down in England as well. It never went really well for him, but it's worked at Rangers. So yeah, I think people will have their tabs on him.
Actually, Peter, can I say as well, because as you know, I've been clearing out my wee mammy's house.
Yeah.
And I've also got a lovely wee kitchen table with four matching chairs on it, £45 ONO.
You take them to the game with you, no? Just got a wee stall inside the park.
The chairs. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't rule it out. So I've gone 1-1. You've 2-1. You.
I'm looking at, well, certainly for Real Betis, Celtic. I'm hoping it'll be 0-0. So you feed us next week.
Yep.
I think tonight I can see Rangers sneaking that 1-0.
Okay.
I'm waiting to see what happens with the boy Shaqiri, right?
Yes.
But I think Dembele is a huge loss for them. And you know the other thing, Peter, when you even think when Steven Gerrard first came to Rangers, it wasn't quite the situation that he's in now. When you put up that team, if that is a probable lineup, kind of picks itself. You know, obviously there's guys that will be missing that, but looks a really, really strong team. And then the cherry in the cake for me, why I'm wishing Steven Gerrard all the best tonight, is that since I was last in the programme, he, like me, is now in the motorhome gang. Did you notice that?
Oh, has he bought a motorhome?
He's into the motorhome. When he was minded to lie low and just stay in his bubble with a family with the COVID.
Yeah.
So he very sensibly got them on to a motorhome that maybe, I don't know, a Liverpool fan, a Rangers fan gave him a wee shotty. So me and Steven Gerrard on the
You're big into that, aren't you?
motorhome. Brilliant. Aye,
Great to see, just going in the wee... They have wee places they all go and they all meet.
Yeah.
Wee caravan parts.
Absolutely.
And that,
You're thinking something else. That's no motorhome.
You're away. Anyway, good
People
luck.
think you would, and you think this is naff, right? The rule is, see when you've got a motorhome.
Yeah.
See if you're driving down the road and there's a motorhome coming the other way. You've got to wave.
Oh, no.
You've got to wave. But
You're
you know
right.
what? You don't date caravans.
Do you not?
They're known the gang.
By the way, there's tribalism everywhere, isn't there, Ruffy? Honestly, there certainly is in our country. As far as tonight is concerned, good luck to Rangers and Celtic. Celtic with the early kick-off. Rangers a little later on. Good luck to both teams. Let's hope we get a positive result to talk about on tomorrow's programme. Certainly, as far as European football is concerned, we'll be talking about the Champions League from last night, which was absolutely fantastic. But there's a couple other topics I want to get your thoughts on. Also, I would actually point out, we try and comment on as much as we possibly can news stories that came up, right, left and centre, and we try and talk about football as much as we can. Every now and then I like to mention our apologies to anybody who is offended by something that comes up on the feed. We try and ban as many people as possible that we don't want on talking about football who are just basically living in a different world from you.
£20 for that kitchen table is an insult. It's 45.
Somebody said
Not going
£20.
below 45.
Yeah, we try. Well, there's good people and good banter, but some people do let you down, but try not to be offended by them. Just ignore them. It's the best way forward at the moment. Let somebody else deal with them. Celtic's team has come out. Hart, Ralston, Carter, Vickers, Starfelt, Juranovic. We got that right. Sorrow, Turnbull, Rogic, Jota, Montgomery's in, and a Yeti. So full marks to Gabriel on that. I must admit I was slightly surprised by Montgomery a little further forward. Barkas, Bain, Scales, McCarthy, Urhogeid, Shaw, Murray, Henderson, Welsh. Joe Hart is the captain. What a transformation his life has been, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was the captain at Man City when he was there for a wee while. So he's an experienced player. I'm not too sure about a goalkeeper being a captain. I think a captain needs to be in the middle of the park and, verbally, I think when you're a goalkeeper, you're so far away. If you want to pass on anything, it's a forward area. The midfield guy has everything run about him. So.
Would you have said that to Enzo Bersot? Look, don't pick Zoff. He doesn't know what he's doing.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing. Bertie made me a captain.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, you're absolutely right with your point then. Absolutely. You need somebody who knows.
Do you know why he made me a captain?
Why?
Because we were playing a tournament at Ibrox and we were the last of a team in 4 and the presentations were at 11 o'clock at night and somebody in our team had to be there to get our wee trophy for 4th place.
Okay.
And he made me captain, so I had to hang about.
Thanks to all the people, wishing Rangers and Celtic all the best in tonight's match.
It would have been good if we'd somebody else chucked in the mix, wouldn't it? A wee St Johnstone had sneaked in, or I know Aberdeen were outclassed.
It's not good enough.
Hibs, just to get, Celtic Rangers, we've been used to that now for a few years, but just for something a wee bit different.
Well, the one thing about it is we hope that, with clubs performing, Celtic and Rangers still flying the flag, but with other clubs getting that little bit further forward, it gives us more money in the game, it increases the coefficient, and you look at Scotland with the international situation, the latest results were up from 49th to 45th, and we're above the Republic of Ireland. I think it's been a while since we've managed to do that. Wales are in 19th, England have moved up to 3rd, after pushing, I think, France out of the top 3. Belgium still the number 1 team in the world. So at least we're moving in the right direction.
Well, we need to move in the right direction. We need to jump another 10 places or something like that, because we need to get out of that pot 3. Yeah. We need to get into pot 2, where it makes it a lot easier for us. So obviously the more games you win, the higher you go.
Have you had, it was only because a taxi driver yesterday asked me this and I hadn't jumped that far forward, but obviously our best chance of getting to the next World Cup is via a play-off, finishing 2nd behind Denmark. Yeah. Have you got any idea so far what sort of team would be likely to play in a play-off?
No, I haven't. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
They're probably going to be tasty, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an easy journey for us. But
no.
But listen, three wins out of the remaining 4 is enough to get us to that. So I
think we're looking for an upset in another group, so that a so-called smaller nation would maybe sneak into a 2nd place and we get to play them.
Israel at Hampden.
Aye.
Got to be all guns blazing.
That's the final.
Moldova, Faroe Islands, and then you've got Denmark last.
Aye.
So if we're there to play Denmark in the last game, Denmark will already be through. Hopefully it's the all singing.
Well, there's another way of looking at it. What if maybe a wee upset here or there for Denmark, and can you imagine us getting into that last game with Denmark with a chance of beating them to win the group?
There's not a chance in hell.
I know, we cannot fantasise, but what a day that would be at Hampden.
$3,000 for the chairs now. $3,000,
brilliant, great. That's fantastic.
If you're going to go fantasising, I may as well go mental as well. Listen, we're talking about coefficient performances of the teams. We want Celtic and Rangers to do well tonight. Ex-First Minister Henry McLeish has been talking and querying why the Old Firm are not as part of this review. He says Scottish football does need a major review of its finances. Of course, Henry McLeish himself conducted a review, Think Tank 2 it was called, just in case you've forgotten about it. It was over a decade ago, I think.
We were trying to forget about
it.
What came out of it?
I've still got the interview,
right,
and I've still got the document that was released by Henry McLeish. Now we've got 5 clubs who are obviously they've employed Deloitte Touche to look at ways that they can enhance the image of the SPFL and try and bring more money in, take us from maybe 25 to 50 million coming in, more money for the clubs, buy better players,
enhance
put more
the
into
image,
the youth.
stop bringing out reviews.
Well,
because you just draw a blank line on no another review.
Well,
McLeish, did anything ever come out of Ernie Walker's?
well,
30 years ago.
He employed Rinus Michels in that whole think tank one. the Dutch master, Henry McLeish, did his review. He probably got some points through, Tam, because I think it would be remiss of me not to compliment certain aspects of what the SFA have done with grassroots football. There's been certain aspects of which I think they've put a lot of work into. I think it would be lazy of us just to say everything's been dismissed. But there was a lot of what Henry McLeish has suggested. I think even the ex-First Minister will be disappointed has not been implemented. And it's not been implemented, in my mind, only in my view, because Celtic and Rangers scupper everybody else's progress. It's all about those two clubs, and they drag everybody back. And before we get battered, and we will get battered in the next 20 seconds by people saying they're the two biggest clubs, they stop the progress. The voting structure is wrong. Henry McLeish is asking why they're not in there. They're not in there because by the time this review comes out, they'll scupper it. Because if it doesn't involve them getting more money than everybody else, they will scupper it. So our country at the moment is, I think, going through a really, really bad phase of unrest off the field, a fight on the field, not so much the players, but a fight with a club that's basically going to war with every other club. And I think we're in a poisonous time at the moment. It's not healthy. And I think, a review will not help it.
Well, on a lighter note, did I ever tell you about the time I pulled a gun on Henry McLeish?
To tell me.
No, this is genuine. It was indeed when he was First Minister, and we had him booked one Saturday to come in and day off the ball with us. And I was going up into the BBC that day, and it was a shop, I don't think it's there any longer, on Great Western Road in Glasgow, and it was one of these places you could buy like guns and air rifles and that, fishing gear and all, it was one of these kind of shops, So I went in, and I said, right, the only way this is going to work is if the boy that runs the shop knows who I am, and then he knows it's legit and all that. So I walked into the shop, and the guy went, "Oh, Tam, it's yourself. Is that your way up to the BBC?" I said, "Aye." He says, "What can I do for you?" I says, "Any chance I could borrow a gun?" And he says, "What?" I says, "Aye, could I borrow a gun, So he says, "What for?" I says, "I want to see what sort of security Henry McLeish as First Minister has got," right? So the guy gave us a gun. Now, didn't need bullets, it was nothing like that, right? But it was a gun, right? A prop gun. So I stuck it, put it in a poly bag, and away I went to the BBC. So while we were in mid-flow with Henry McLeish, he'd been a brilliant guest, he was the First Minister, he'd played with East Fife and he'd been on the books at Leeds United.
Yeah.
We got him to do a wee bit of keepy uppy with the ball in the studio to prove his worth on the pitch, and he was brilliant, it was great fun. So then at one point I says, "Henry, you're First Minister, I don't even know if you were chauffeur driven here the day, I certainly don't know what sort of security you've got." So I says, "For example, Henry, if I had to pull this out my bag," and I pulled out the gun, now I was waiting and maybe the SAS coming in for the ceiling or all that, or swinging into the BBC and hustling me and all the rest of it. But he didn't have any. And I was a wee bit disappointed. You imagine what the President of America would have had, what I mean? He'd have been a sniper in the Crown Plaza across the road when I took my
we would have been bringing a wreath down.
Absolutely. But he was a good laugh, and he says, no, I'm absolutely fine, Tam. And he made a wee joke for the football field. He says, "I know how to handle myself."
Yeah.
And that was it.
We've been talking about, listen, who knows what's going to happen with the review. We'll wait and see.
Good luck to them. As long as something positive comes out. And you reckon then this isn't about grassroots? Is this about senior football they're looking at?
This is really kind of driven by the American owners of the other clubs, who are looking now for a different view on how we promote our game. Now, Charlie seems to have a wee worry that maybe they'll be looking towards franchise football. But regardless of that, they'll be looking at ways that we can market our football better, sell it better, sell packages better, and also, promote Scottish football in such a way that entices bigger sponsors in so that we get more money. But that's not going to happen because, for me right now, some people disagree. I think the SPFL's image and brand is toxic. We can't even get to a situation where the Cinch deal is being sanctioned.
I know.
They're arguing about it. The latest news, and I kid you not, this has just come up on my feed. Hibs won't have any tickets for Rangers ahead of their clash. The pair are due to meet October the 3rd. It could be a top of the table clash, but there'll be no travelling support along the M8 for that match either. But that aside,
but is that no COVID? Is that no what Motherwell fans have been caught up in?
That's exactly the thing. that's not the main crux.
Well, the
of
one
my
thing I would say, Peter, that
anger.
they've got to address when all this is final over and there are no red zones, and clubs quite rightly are wanting to look after their own fans, their own season ticket holders, some of whom have to move. When all this is ancient history, we really, really do need the fans back into the grounds. And I would say the big two, Celtic and Rangers, I know it's been a bit tit for tat with that in recent years, but you know, that trotted out line of Jock Steins that everybody was using over the past 18 months about there is no football without fans. I would say there is no football without away fans. You need that for the atmosphere, for the, you know, the having a wee go at each other and all the rest.
Well, that's killed off as well, Tam. So, you know, they don't let large travelling fans into grounds either now. So that's another aspect of the nonsense that's going on, Rocky.
Although I'll tell you,
what needs to happen is a change of power.
Yeah,
We need to change the power in the
They said
voting.
it is a vote. I mean, it was well documented, you know, when the last vote came round, and you might agree with it, might not agree with it. Everybody looked after themselves. The teams at the bottom, they voted for where they didn't want anybody
Absolutely.
dropping. They wanted to, oh no, I'm no voting for that, because that could be us next year.
Do you know what you need, though?
I remember us talking about this in the pro, and they all chucked in that same line about the greater good of Scottish football, but then they immediately just turned the focus on their own team.
Absolutely.
And it was me, and that was it.
Tam, there's no sporting integrity. Certainly not when you view the evidence of the last 18 months. There's none of that. There's backstabbing, there's infighting. It's a toxic brand right now. Do you know what it needs? It needs a new constitution. That's what it needs. It needs somebody to come in, rewrite the rules and say, you want to play in Scottish football? Sign here.
Right.
Sign
And
here.
you sound like one of these guys that's going for the one body. Aye, you know, having SFA, SPFL. You would want one governing body running the game in Scotland.
I've no problems with the SFA and the SPFL. What I have a problem with is I think the SPFL, and I'm not in this Rangers camp who are clearly trying to get Neil Doncaster bulleted, but I am in the camp of it needs a fresh approach with a new commission who come in and take care of the brand, and they are backed up by rules which stops clubs scuppering everybody else's chances of making money, and stop clubs making up the rules as they go along. And I'm not highlighting one club or the other. Stop clubs just playing what I call the United Nations card, vetoing it so that there's no progress. And it needs a new constitution. Some people don't agree with that. You get an opinion on this
By
programme.
the way, talking to the fans being back in and away fans, were you aware of the scenario? I don't think anybody would have brought it up this week in the show, with the Aberdeen fans at Fir Park at the weekend. They've got a strange thing now going on, and again, it's COVID related, of course.
Yeah.
As you know, the away team, the visitors at Fir Park, still currently emerge for the two-tier south stand.
Yes.
Right? Now, when you're coming out, you're walking down just right next to your own supporters, in this case, Saturday, are the Aberdeen fans. And when you just appear at the start, the game's not been played yet, great ovation and all the rest of it. But talk about a walk of shame, because half an hour before the end of that game, a lot of the Aberdeen fans were very disgruntled. There was a lot of shouts, there was jeers at Stephen Glass, the players were getting it in the neck.
Yeah.
And when that full-time whistle blew, ordinarily, the Aberdeen players, they could have blanked all the fans down there and went right down the tunnel, but they then had to walk back up those steps. And the fans, it was a wee bit like, man, the Scotland fans, we want our money back in Argentina. It was a bit like that going on. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't have fancied being one of the Aberdeen players.
Well, it's funny you saying that, Tam, and I kid you not, I was surprised on Saturday, because at the end of the Manchester United-Newcastle United game, both sets of fans walked between each other.
Aye.
They just walked back to their cars. And there was Newcastle fans passing by the Manchester United fans. There was no hassle. I mean, by the way, not all of English football is like that. There are some games where I presume it would be a 3-line whip, keep them away. But the Newcastle fans were walking among the Man United fans. It was incredible. And talking of which, here's the competition for you.
This is your chance to win Cristiano Ronaldo's number 7 shirt at Manchester United. And as a bonus, we've thrown in the programme from his return to Old Trafford in the 4-1 victory over Newcastle United. All you have to do is quite simply tell us, which year did Ronaldo make his debut for Manchester United? Follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you could be in with a chance of winning this fantastic prize. And as a bonus, we're throwing in a pair of CR7 pants. Win Ronaldo's shirt, the programme, and the pants? All you have to do is follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel with the answer of the year Ronaldo made his debut for Manchester United.
Yeah, good luck with that. It's a good prize. Good shot, Ruffy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's magnificent.
Should be for the price.
I mean, the guy had a wee bit of a worry about the size it was going to be, but as long as you got it, doesn't matter what size it is.
Absolutely. You'll have somebody in your family that'll be able to wear it. It's a large, and it's quite well put together as well. It's a top drawer strip. So good luck with that. And you get CR7 pants, large. So there you are. You mentioned Motherwell when you were doing well with how they've started the season. I wasn't too sure pre-season, Tom, but hey, you're starting to look the business.
You know that we're doing well because the Statler and Waldorf's in the main stand, and I'd even include myself in that. Stop shouting to Graham Alexander to get somebody up the park when we concede a corner, because when we weren't doing quite so well, that's always annoyed me. I always think, why give the opposition two chances? You know, if you clear it at a corner and it goes to one of their players, they can put it back in. But that is a sign that the fans are maybe saying, you know what, Graham Alexander's getting more things right than wrong, let him get on with it, you know. So that kind of shout, didn't really hear that on Saturday against Aberdeen. We've been clocking up the results undoubtedly, and there's a real kind of vibrancy about the team. There's a real bit of energy about them, and Kevin Van Veen, I think maybe even 50% because he's got such a great name. You know, it's like the Jean-Claude Van Damme. You know, it's like one of these guys. But Kevin Van Veen, he just sounds tasty. You know, and he had a smashing game on Saturday. Tony Watt, I think Tony has now found his happy place, if you like.
You're right.
Tony had been at maybe one too many clubs. He's settled now. He's married. His wife is working fairly locally at the club, which he now plays, and I think he's got his head down and got on with it, and he just looks like a stalwart. So aye, it's looking okay for Motherwell, and with a record number of season tickets that we shifted this season. We did the brilliant thing where we were giving a lot of season tickets to fans that couldn't ordinarily have afforded them maybe, and of course, if you did have your season ticket last year at Motherwell, you get straight back in this year at no extra expense. So Motherwell are ticking all the right boxes off the park, and it now seems that it's kind of happening on the park.
Yeah, and your manager is looking forward to the game against Rangers.
Yeah, but this is part of the game. You know, if you don't want to be in part of these games, then I think you're in the wrong sport. You know, we want to be at the highest level we can be to experience and compete and win in these games. So you've got to relish it rather than be concerned about it. And to be fair, knowing my players, I think they will relish the challenge.
Yeah, should be a tasty one at Ibrox. Rangers against Motherwell. I'll tell you, it was tasty last night, Ruffy. I thoroughly enjoyed the Champions. I love European football at that level. Champions League level, sensational. And the games last night, I sat and watched the Liverpool game in disbelief. I mean, it was 100 mile an hour stuff. It was brilliant.
Yeah, at one stage it looked as if it was going to be a replica of the cup final. You know, we were going to get all the goals coming late and right to the very, very end, particularly when they went ahead. But fair dues to Liverpool for coming back, and making a right good game of it. And you're right, it's a Champions League. It's just when that music starts.
Yeah.
And having the thing in the circle.
He's rubbing it in, isn't he?
Honestly. It's magnificent.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And if you're a supporter and you're in there, that's where you want to be.
I've recorded the highlights last night because I was out last night, so well worth watching when I get here.
Tom, you will have listen, it's just brilliant. You'll have a great time
and away
watching.
from all the goals and all that in the two kind of big games, but is it right what I've been hearing that Jack Hendry had Lionel Messi in his back pocket last night?
I have to tell you,
That's what I've read.
Messi did hit the bar with one, but Jack Hendry was absolutely superb. What about the stats, Ruffy? Jack Hendry, what a transformation on him. I mean, Celtic, Ostend, Club Bruges, and of course, when you look at the performances, he's back in the Scotland setup as well.
Yeah, you've left out Partick Thistle. Just at the beginning of his career, he started off, and I don't mind saying it, but when you've got young players like that, this is what we're talking about. Clubs like us still get rewarded for how well they do, and that's why if you've got a good...
And yes or no, Peter, do you think somebody in your talented team had to look it up and check how to spell Renaissance, because that's a hard one. They must have. They must have. Oh, that's
You've got to.
That's one for your spelling bee.
That's one for your app on the phone, isn't it?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yep, I'm happy with that. Of course, I did mention to you, you will enjoy this game. 6-3, Man City was fantastic as well, and Pep's still saying, hey, we can cope without a striker.
Because we're winning, the moment we're going to lose, and we don't score a goals, we're going to say why we didn't buy a striker. I know this history for a long time. So I'm a genius in my decisions. I'm a failure when decisions are doing well. So we have an outstanding squad. Always I will be grateful for the club. Today we made 300 games since day one until now. They gave me exceptional players with a good mentality.
Well, he's right, Pep Guardiola. When you get the right decisions, when you get the wins and you don't have a striker, genius. Yeah. Always the way to go ahead. But when he gets beaten, people go, you need a number 9.
Yeah, but I mean, to score 6 goals against any team in the quality of this competition is fantastic. I think deep down, he won't be wanting to lose 3 goals at home. You know, being the professional that he is. So. But 6 goals is superb. Yeah. And it's the way they play, is it? Again, it's a supporters team you want to go and see. When you get a ticket to go to see Man City and you see all their players.
And I'll tell you, Peter, if Tony Watt maybe isn't as settled as I think he is, he started bidding at 40 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Van Veen in there, 40
million, a table and 4 chairs. Yes. It's as simple as that.
A programme.
And a programme. Of course, listen, Liverpool weren't relying on a number 9 when they won last night. Jordan Henderson scored the goal, and boy was he delighted at it.
Yeah, we kept going, kept fighting, and managed to find a couple of goals to win the game. So overall, delighted with the result. Very nice to get back on the score sheet. You know, I think it's been a while, so it's always nice to score a goal. And if I'm going to be playing a little bit further forward in that position, I think I need to be chipping in with a few more goals as well. So it was nice to get on the score sheet and find the winner.
The reason why I played that is because, Tam, wouldn't it be great if we could all, I mean, do you not think it'd be great if we could all get tickets and head down to a Champions League match down there? I mean, Anfield would be my choice for the Champions League.
I've never been to Anfield.
Well,
I've been to one at Old Trafford.
Have you? Well, Anfield would be great, Ruffy, wouldn't it?
I've only played at Anfield once. That's when we qualified for the World Cup in '78.
I
was there that night.
A great save that
it was
night.
It was magnificent. It was magnificent. Full of Scottish supporters, so I can see what you mean. Obviously, the stadium's been a lot modernised for then.
Oh, by the way, talking of that era and great moments, I'm delighted to say I've brought this up in this show a few times in the past for whatever reason.
Yep.
That furthest out I've ever seen header that Derek Johnston scored against Wales.
Yeah.
Right, outside of the ball, outside of the foot, Archie Gemmell, great wee cross, and then this bullet header.
Yeah.
Derek sent it on to me. Somebody had made a wee montage of goals of Derek Johnston's, and he sent it to me. He says, watch that. The one you keep talking about is in the middle, and there it is there, and I hadn't seen it for ages.
Is it on YouTube?
I don't know. I couldn't find it, certainly, when I looked for it. What a header. Were you playing that game, aye?
Aye, but my memory doesn't serve me that well, but it was a midweek game.
Was it?
And I thought
it was bright anyhow.
I thought we played Wales, and we always played Wales on a Saturday, Ireland on a Wednesday, and England on a...
All right.
So that would be the only thing I would say. It was Northern Ireland or Wales, but don't quote me on that.
I'm sure it was Wales. If so, who would have been their goalie then?
It'd have been the boy
Mervyn
Davis.
Mervyn Davis.
Di Davis.
Di Davis, sorry. Who's Mervyn Davis?
He was a goalkeeper with Everton, I think.
Yeah?
He was a goalkeeper.
Yeah. Now, just before we go, Tam, I always like to, we get lots of messages. If you download the PLZ Soccer app, there's a section in it called Submissions. If you literally, just like our YouTube feed, but if you post a message on there, it comes straight up and we can read it live on the show as well. And there's a little section where you can actually record your comments on your favourite team or anything that's bugging you. And if we use it on the show, we'll send you out something nice. And this is from Rod, who's an expat who's in Melbourne. And he says, I love your show. I look forward every morning to your YouTube broadcast. Keep up the good work and everything Scottish football. I watched on Tuesday with the interest in the 5 clubs who decided on financial review with Deloitte. I'm disappointed not to hear any discussion with the panel about the need to improve the football experience for the fans. Surely improving finances in the league goes hand in hand with increasing the fan experiences in the terraces. Now, I think he makes a great point with that. You know, obviously we want families in, we want more and more people to come to the game. And he does mention the fact that the SPFL brand, it may look toxic, but we've got to try and improve and make the fan experience great. And I think that's the key to it all, isn't it? And your guys cannot get any better PR.
I know Motherwell have done a lot of stuff, but no club should ever take their eye off the ball, because having gone the best part of 2 years without fans inside the grounds, a lot of them, it might have been habit forming. A lot of them might have found other things to do. A lot of them might have thought, you know what, I quite enjoy just watching the games on the telly. You know, I'm quite happy watching a game on my laptop. And they could easily get out the habit of going to the games. And once they have gone back, if there's anything that they don't like, or if they feel they're being treated like mugs or second-class citizens, then they might never go back. So you're absolutely right. And I think the fans can play their bit as well, Peter, because we know they've got this scenario coming up where, because of vaccine passports, and then throw that in the mix with ticketing issues and getting codes off your phone, etc., rather than a good old-fashioned ticket. When this kicks in, we're going to have to ask fans as well, rather than staying in the pub till 2:59, or 7:44 for a midweek game, get yourselves along there early and get in. And maybe that's a way to entice them in, for example, is maybe to make it a better experience. If we use Hampden as an example, make it a better experience for the fans once you get in there. Up the game when it comes to the catering and all the rest of it, and you might then, it might be alluring rather than just staying in the pub.
Well, I know they did try at one point, the cheerleaders, and they had them out for the Sky Games, but Ruffy, we were down one night at Rugby Park, and I am not kidding you. Honestly, the girls were freezing, and I thought to myself, this is not a country for cheerleaders and pom-poms, but there's definitely an experience.
Maybe Ron, lo and behold, is speaking to us all the way from Australia, where their weather tends to be a bit better than ours. And when he's talking about the fan experience, he might even envision like when you see it the American football, the baseball, and the guys there with the hot dog trays and all that, and they're passing pints down along the road, and everybody's all happy and all that. But you're right, before we know it, we've been lucky with the weather so far, but it's going to be Baltic, and all you'll be thinking about is trying to keep warm at the football.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people's memory can play tricks with them. I'm not for a minute suggesting Bob's got it wrong. I think Bob White might be wrong. He says, Peter, tell Tam and Ruffy, Scotland drew 1-1 with that game that DJ scored that header. Scotland conceded an own goal. Ruffy must remember that game. Now, I think Bob's thinking about the Willie Donachie own goal with George Wood.
Yeah, I was asked that question at a sportsman's dinner, and
I don't think that's DJ that scored that game. No, I don't think so,
no. I don't know why I'm thinking DJ scored against Ireland, because Ireland was always the midweek game.
No, it's definitely Wales. Tam's right.
Was it? It must have been a thing.
Yeah, it was Wales.
No, somebody asked me that, you must have been embarrassed with that goal that you let in. And I said, no, I was absolutely killing myself laughing. I thought it was hilarious. The boy took offence. Well, why were you laughing? I said, because I was sitting in the stand. I wasn't playing. It was Jim Blythe.
Was it Jim Blythe? Was it? Yeah. So they changed the keepers in the second half, didn't they? Or did you not even start?
I haven't a clue.
Right, okay, you just didn't care. You were just quite happy.
In fairness, I don't think anybody would have saved it. It was some...
Oh, it was a good pass back. It was a good fantastic. He got a good bit of power in it. Listen, thanks to... tell Ruffy, says David Bell, the goalkeeper he was thinking of was Mervyn Day. That was the guy I was thinking of, Mervyn Day, and not Davis. But it was me that mentioned it.
No, I think it was Dye.
Listen, we'll find out. Okay. It's as simple as that. Anyway, apart from anything else, great chat, thoroughly enjoyed it. Great to have Tam on Thursday. Thanks to the countless people who have... obviously put up messages about Rangers, Celtic, wishing them the best. Some people a good bit of patter. As ever, we always welcome people who love their club, love Scottish football and football across Europe and the world as well, because we like to talk about so many other teams, Champions League and Europa League as well. Good luck to Celtic and Rangers in tonight's Europa League. Tomorrow, Gabriel Antoniazzi will be here alongside Ruffy and Tam McManus and Charlie Adam to preview the weekend's football. And I'll be back with you on Monday. So to each and every one of you, thanks for watching.